Hello, and welcome to a review that I'm going to try and do on a tank that I've pretty much ground through in about like a week, the T69. I was pretty excited for this tank. I saw it a lot in competitive play early on in like WGLNA and stuff. So it was kind of neat to play a tank that I saw so much in the beginning. Don't so much anymore, and hopefully I can elaborate on why that might be. So the T69, it's fairly strong in that it's got a 4 round autoloader with good enough DPM. Autoloaders typically have less DPM, but I run vents, optics, and vert stab on this, I believe. I don't. You could run GLD instead of vents, but I'm not a huge believer in GLD, particularly if you have vert stab as an option. So DPM is low, but that's all right because it's an autoloader, and that's not really the specialty of autoloaders. The full clip reload time, 25 seconds, that's all right. And the rate of fire is just reflecting that. Like I said, 4 clip size and all right aim time. The aim time is probably the worst part about the gun. The aim time and then the accuracy on the move and during turret traverse and stuff like that. So it's got kind of bad shell velocity. It's not the best ever. 1000 is a pretty ideal shell velocity, or even higher than that. APCR typically has the highest shell velocity in the game. And unfortunately, this tank does not carry APCR, it carries heat. 250 heat, but still it's heat, which is not very good. Top speed is 51. Now, 51 is theoretical. It hardly ever reaches 51. It reaches 51 if you go downhill and you don't turn your tracks, but that's usually not the case. So power to weight is not the best either. That's something that you see out of some heavy tanks, like the Russian heavy tanks, I believe, have somewhere around 16 power to weight. So the acceleration is not fantastic. The terrain resistances are decent. I don't really. I think the baseline is somewhere around this. Feels like it's probably worse than some of the French tanks, but it's something that again you can expect. Now the elevation and depression is really good. At least the depression is. It's 9 all the way around. And that's something that high tier autoloaders tend to have in common. They have pretty good gun depression. The gun elevation on the T69, as with most oscillating turrets, is not fantastic. It's 14, which is, like I said, not ideal. Um, Hull armor, turret armor, track armor, track armor. I think that's just module hit points. Um, not really anything special here. The turret armor 152 is probably 152 in some really dumb spots, but you're not going to get any bounces off of the armor. Maybe once in like 20 shots you'll get a ricochet, but don't count on your armor for anything. So health is pretty standard, maybe on the little low side for tier 8 mediums, but it's also being compared to like German mediums, which typically have higher health, Russian mediums, which have around there, but a little bit more. Plus, it's an autoloader, like I said, so it's got a bit of different comparison set. Now, this is probably one of my favorite features about the tank, the view range. The view range is awesome. It's 400 base, which is the same as the Pershing. And so if you run vents and optics, vents don't make a huge difference, but optics, you can get some sick view range out of this. Anything above 445 view range starts to mitigate some of the camo values of whichever tanks you're trying to spot, which is really great. So moving on, we're going to take a look at the 3D model, see what the armor looks like. So like I said, the armor is not great. You can see like red here, but that's not really anything. The only time you're going to get like orange armor is if you shoot it in really dumb angles like over here. And even then it's only like 200 effective. Most of the time you'll get shot in this turret ring here. So you'll notice that the turret breaks fairly frequently. It's got some really dumb plates here that are like 200 or 152, 177. You know, sometimes you get shot right in here. But the only time you're ever going to bounce off the turret is if they hit like here, here, or like one of these little parts here. If you get shot straight in the gun, it's going to pen. If you get shot in the top of the turret, it's going to pen. It's an overmatch for 76 millimeter plus. And it's not a tank that you can effectively side scrape with for a number of reasons. First of all, the side armor is not awesome. It's only 76, and then less at the back. Your hull armor rather is pretty wide down here. It's a fat tank. This thing is really fat. You can't get through the little pillars and archways on Abbey, which kind of sucks, but the hull sticks out quite far. So if you angle too much, you're going to get penned in the side, and if you don't angle enough, you're going to get penned down here. Plus, you have a shitty turret. I think I mentioned that once or twice. Not a whole lot in the way of spaced armor. These things I don't think are hitboxes. Result no damage, right? So anyway, that's about all for the armor. And I've got a replay coming up. I don't think there's any real more stats we need to take a look at, so I'll get right into that. Alright, so here's the replay. Playing solo on Fisherman's Bay. And I basically just do what I normally do, ping the map at where the heavy tanks like to cross, and just ask somebody if they'll light there. Probably one of the better things you can do on this map. It's really important to get that early damage into the heavy tanks. And I'm just going to speed this up. And a good position to do that from is exactly where I pinged, E6, E7. And I like to snipe from E6. There's a few good bush locations that'll keep you hidden enough and give you good enough shots. So the T71 looks like he's going to go, but he goes in a bush that's too far back. So he does a little bit of, I do a little bit of damage to him, unintentional, and I find a T71. Unfortunate that that second shot didn't hit, and he gets a snapshot into me, unfortunately. And the T71, again, I just look at this guy. Like, this happens a little bit more in this replay. I'm thinking about going for a reload. But I don't because the M103 gets lit, and also this OHO. And this is what I'm talking about. The 432, I believe, is the one that spotted him. And I have some shots, but they're not very good, and he goes off the radar anyway. I'm a bit worried about the M103's positioning. He's in the mirror spot from the other side, which is also a very strong location. And he's basically countering anybody that goes into the city. So Tiger 2 gets lit again. This is what happens when you have good spotting in your team. For some reason, that second shot bounced. I guess it hit his side. And again, this is ridiculous. Like, the light tanks on this team were just all over me. They loved me this game. So, we got a bunch of campers in the normal A1, A2, B1, B2 area. They're going to be all but useless for the first 5 to 6 minutes of this game. Bulldog is moving up, and he's not really seeing anything. As you can see from the XVM over here, most of their team has been lit, so we know where most of them are. Interestingly, their SP has not been lit yet, which is unusual for this map. Usually scouts are very, very early lit. So, find a T34 buddy here, and I'm not going to pressure him. I haven't noticed by this point that he's full tomato, and I'll take advantage of that later in the game. It's rather amusing, actually, but more to come. So I am thinking about going for this Tiger 2 down here, using this spot, not for lighting now, but just getting damage into the city. And around this time, I realized, like, I need to be doing more kills than damage, because we're starting to lose tanks left and right. And it's not our scouts either. Our Bulldog looks like he's about to go down, as they are now pushing the 1-2 line. And everybody that wasn't lit is now pretty much lit. So T34 gets lit behind me, and I do something, I run my cursor over him to make sure I know where he's looking. And this is always something you should do in a tank with no armor before you crest a hill. And he's actually still not looking at me. So I go up, I take my time aiming, I put 2 shots into him, and the last one bounces. I hesitated. I couldn't remember if the last one bounced or penned. But anyway, he doesn't shoot me back. And I think now is the time I realize, oh wait, this guy's terrible, that's why. And that's one thing that I think XVM is good for. I flinched like a mofo right there when the arty hits next to me. And I thought I let my team know where artillery was, which is really a good thing to do. If you get hit by arty, use your sort of indicator up here to tell where they're coming from, and that's really helpful for the team, particularly if you've got friends that are playing arty and they're trying to get a counter battery. I tunnel vision and I don't see the T-34 crossing right in front of my face. And what's good about the damage that I did put into him is it means he's a one-shot for me. Sorry, a one-clip for me. And I take a shot at the Bulldog, and I still have enough alpha to kill this T-34. I put one into his tracks just to be sure. And, yeah, that's what's good about XVM. You know what you can expect from players like that. He didn't fire at me. I don't know if he had a bit of lag or what, but That's kind of nice. And this M103 looks like he's pushing a bit. This Charioteer finally got off the hill that the RHM is now solely defending. We won the 1-2 line, which is quite nice. I didn't think we were going to, but we managed to kill 4 of their tanks, so you can see down on the minimap, at only losing 2 of our lights. So that's a pretty good trade. And we tied up the scores now, but it's not even close to a win. They still have their M103, despite being on somewhat low health, and I think about going for the track shot here, but I don't. What we're effectively doing now that's kind of nice is we're spinning the map. We've got our IS-2 down here, and we've kind of extended lights and everything around here, so we're starting to corner their team. However, they are doing the right thing, the enemies. They're pushing the IS-2, and they're going to spin this into an east-west fight, as well as our T71 dying to their Bulldog. So they start spinning the map on us. It's kind of a funny turn, but I'm thinking about going for this M103 half-heartedly until I realize that I don't really want to take a hit because I don't need to, and there's no guarantee that I can kill him. Our Charioteer is a good player. It's a bit unfortunate. Later in this game, I try and do some coordination with him, but I think he has chat off, so I wasn't able to really talk to him much. This Bulldog, I guess, doesn't see me. No clue where that first shot went. Might have been a ghost shell. Might have just been badly hit by RNG. But I start reloading. Always let your team know when you're reloading if you're in an autoloader that takes more than about 20 seconds to reload. T30 goes down, and now we're in a really bad spot. I notice right around now, I think, that their M103 died, which is really good for us. But we're still losing. And they have some rather skilled players, 2 of which are in artillery and another's in this T-34-3, already proving that he knows how to play. And this is what I'm talking about with the coordination problems. I asked the Charioteer to go kill Artie, and really that would be a really good thing to do in this position, because we know where they all are. This guy was spotted like 30 seconds ago, and he hasn't moved very far, and the heavies in the city are really going to be confined there. My guess is they're probably either coming back this way or they're moving towards our base up here. And we'll see in just a moment. So this T-34-3 is playing it smart. He seems to know where I am, even though I haven't been lit in a while. Our Charioteer is sort of keeping him lit, but also lining up some shots, none of which are really accomplishing anything. And this T-34-3 makes a bad move. I aim for his track here, and I manage to hit it. He puts a heat shell into me, and our Charioteer splashes him with a Hess shell. It doesn't pen, unfortunately. Kind of strange, considering he was shooting at his rear. 5100 gets spotted, 2 artillery hits near me, and that's why I really wanted the Charioteer to go kill artillery, because I knew that was going to happen. I was going to get spotted at some point, or he was going to get spotted, and Artie was going to nuke one of both of us. So that was kind of good, though, because both artillery fired, and their 5100 got lit in the exact same spot, which means that for sure I can go for artillery. Their OHO is not nearly fast enough to be back at their base defending them by now, and he hasn't been spotted going up to ours. So I tell our Charioteer, all right, I'll go kill Artie, and you can just help me out. And I don't think I've noticed by this point that he probably doesn't have chat on, which is really too bad. In this situation, chat was really useful. Would have been really useful anyway. And I'm going to take the safe way. I'm going to break contact and go directly to the 1 line and go that way. I'm quite surprised that there's no Artie here. I was really expecting them to be behind one of these bushes or trees, and they weren't. So that basically tells me that with a little bit more vision, I can determine their basic exact location. That sounds like a juxtaposition, but there we go. I see that they're not here. I do not get lit, and I actually afford to take this shot at the 5100. Interestingly, it hits, and because I'm almost at max view range, I do not get spotted. That is very important. Now, he's probably not an idiot. He knows where the shell came from. He knows where I am. But it's still nice to have that sort of anonymous contact. I have 3 shells, and I'm sitting here with it, and I'm thinking, okay, should I reload? Should I reload? And I decide that I will anytime now. Make sure to get over the hill before I start doing so, unless somebody shows up with any good ideas. Our charioteer is in a good spot. Our RHM is being borderline non-existent right now. Hasn't moved in about 10 minutes since the game began and he went there, which is unfortunate. I was pretty sure I reloaded right now, but I guess it was 30 seconds after I thought so. Okay, now I reload. Kind of a bad time to do so because I'm out in the open, although I have a bush for concealment. But now what I'm trying to do is see if this 5100 comes back for more. Something interesting happens. Our RHM gets damaged, so that means one of two things. Either he got spotted by somebody up here, or already blind fired. And I ask him now in chat that question. Just kind of playing for lights here. I know since I didn't spot any artillery here, and I didn't spot any artillery there, I know that the artillery, sorry, are down in this location where they normally are. So I tell our team that after I break contact with this Oho, who also does not light me, which is, again, very important. And I'm just trying to keep him lit for artillery. We have two very high splash range ones, so I wanna do that for our team. Our charioteer, I think, actually is the one that hits him there. Great bushes on this side of the map for lights, and I decide now to switch to the heat ammo. So I carry 3 clips of heat in this tank. I think that is plenty. I don't think I've ever used all of them except for maybe 1 or 2 occasions, and it was in a tier 10 game where I was like, screw it, I'm just going to fire heat. I only fire heat when I don't have a full clip of AP anymore, basically when I run out of AP. I only fire it at tier 10s that I can't pen frontally or more often from the side. Some of those big German super heavies, I'll have to fire heat at their rear or side armor as our artillery takes the kill. And also, I fire heat. I thought there was another reason. Oh, yeah. At the end of the game, obviously, if it's getting pretty close. That's a good reason to fire heat. Otherwise, I think the AP on this gun really meets the threshold of pen that you need to be a competitive tier 8. And even then, it sometimes kind of falters. 175 is really what you need. More than that to be competitive with your AP, and even then it's pretty rough. I find one of their artillery, I kill it, 2 heat shells, pen the 5100, pen him again, he shoots me, and I no longer can take a hit from him. The artillery that was right in front of me fired, and the charioteer in RHM should have shots on this guy if he tries to poke me. So I'm just kind of coaxing some shots. He's taking very bad shots at me, very ineffective fire from this guy, and this is partially what wins me this game. Like, he's playing with his gun depression, it's not going to work. I bait another shot, and I'm counting his shells, and I'm pretty sure if he has any more shells, he's only got 1. So I kind of go up and over. I get 1 nice shot into him in the turret. I waste 1, and then I decide to go for artillery if I can, which the charioteer actually picks up. So the other already dies. I auto-aim, and I finish the game in style. So, T69. This is just a perfect game of showing what it's good for. I have optics on this tank, like I mentioned, and give me full view range, so I was able to spot these 2 heavies at max view range, which is really, really good. And I was also able to put both AP and heat to work, kind of showcasing which shell type is good for which situations. I was planning on shooting heat at the Oho, and I think he died right as I was starting to load it or something, so I didn't really get to fire it at him, but it's still okay because I was able to use them effectively against the 5100 and the Arty. So anyway, that's the game, that's the review. Tell me what you think of the tank, and thank you very much for watching. So real quick, here are the post-game stats for the T69 game. Managed to pick up an ace tanker pretty blatantly. I think I pulled my weight in that game fairly well. Managed to pick up a bunch of stickers here. Not really anything super special. It's nice to get spotter, though, because it instantly tells you that you got a lot of spotting, which I did. I managed to pick up 3,200 spotting, 4,300 regular damage on my way to the 5041, obviously. Pick up the high caliber. No other medals or battle achievements, battle heroes, whatever they're called. Managed to pick up some really great series of hits on people. I managed to dump a full clip into this T-34-3, a full clip plus one into both the 5100 and the T-34, which is really good result. Managed to kill an artillery, always good. Spot two other artillery for my team to kill. That's that's really what you want from artillery on the enemy team, to kill them. And so yeah, that's the general stats. Specifically, that was 1661 nominal XP, base XP, whatever you want to call it, and so a really really great representation of what the T69 can do in a matchup like this, even when it's not top tier. There weren't a whole lot of tier 9s. It wasn't a tier 10 game. There were 3 Artie, though, on the enemy team, so that's really good that I was able to pick up that result. As you can see over here, I'm actually rather close to the T-54E1, so I might be picking that up soon. I managed to also pick up 6 damage on my own team, so that's pretty sweet. I think that was the T-71 that I ran into at the beginning, not the T-21. I believe ramming counts as in, like, whoever is moving faster is credited with the damage. So I got a little bit of compensation from that T-21 that rammed me at full speed, which is nice. And finally, we can just see the economy that I made. I'm not running a premium account at the moment. It expired the other day, and I probably won't be until the campaign is over, the Black Gold campaign or whatever the hell it's called. I didn't actually get compensation, which makes me sad. But I did have to pay for that 6 damage, so rip. And auto repair vehicle didn't take full HP of damage, but I took just about most, so about 10k repairs and then 33k for ammo. I still pulled a nice profit despite firing quite a few heat rounds at the end. So it tells you that when you do quite a lot of damage in a tank, that it pays off. Not a whole lot of sniping going on, pretty close range stuff, but it was a long game and quite a lot of XP. So those are the post-game stats. Let me know what you think about the T69, sorry, and let me know of what you think about this review format stuff. Thanks for watching.